My dad moved from Poland to America a month ago, with me in tow because he couldn't leave me alone in Warsaw. I usually was alone, because Dad was on expeditions, all of the time, and I was left alone. Officially, he was with me, though we were together only when he was at home. It's complicated, so I was used to staying alone. Dad moved us to Boston because he was offered a position at the university, and it was about Uruk expansion in the Near East. Yes, it's about archaeology, but living in the United States, he couldn't leave me alone like he could in Poland. CPS wasn't that relaxed in the US. I had to be with an adult. The only available adult was my dad's grandmother's brother, Yacek. I think that made him my great-uncle. I don't know how to describe my and his relation in English. I just called him Grump. Yacek was old, like really old, almost 80, and then he had a house at the seaside somewhere in the north. Dad said Portland. Then he said Maine. Another time he said it was New England. So I wasn't sure where it was exactly. I got his address on a piece of paper in my wallet in case I ever got lost, and it was Scarborough, M.E. Nothing like what Dad had said before. When we got to Boston, Dad introduced me to Yacek. He was due to leave the next day, which meant that I would be living with Yacek. One of the things we did before my dad left was that he and I went to the local high school. Dad said he would arrange for my school records from Warsaw to be transferred here. My name isn't hard to spell, if you are Polish. The dude from the school office with the name tag Earl got my name, Przemysław, and typed it on his PC on the third attempt. Then he tried to say it, but failed. Call him Pem, my dad said. Him? Both the secretary and Earl wondered. Come on, people. I'm rolling my eyes here. With all the tick marks in all the proper places, how could they mistake me for a girl? Puberty may have missed me, but there were my papers in both Polish and English, including medical records if someone still had a question. Earl attached a post-it sticker to my file with Pemboy on it. Welcome to Scarborough High, he announced. You are officially our student now. What next? My dad asked. Come to the office a week before school starts for the schedule of your classes, the secretary said. I had 3 weeks to adjust to my new life in the United States. I didn't want to, but I had to. I was now living with an older man I had never seen before. Yacek was also living with a woman. They weren't married, but it was as if they were married. She, Sarah, was younger. Something about 70, or maybe even in her late 60s. She wasn't Jewish like I thought, though her name was Jewish. She was American, and she wasn't Catholic, and she didn't speak Polish. Yacek spoke Polish, but his Polish was worse than my English. But maybe it was for the best. Maybe it would help me to learn English faster. When Yacek and Sarah were younger, they were partners and owned a restaurant together before they sold it. Yacek said they would teach me to make meals. They did prepare meals at home, but more often we went to the restaurant they owned at one time. They tried to make me like American food. Things like hamburgers, or burgers as they called them. I didn't like them, I just couldn't. When it was possible, I opted for fries. And lettuce. American salad was awful. I didn't know how to make what I liked, but I did know that I didn't like American food. My mom had passed away when I was a kid, and I didn't learn anything from her, but I did remember some things. Like brushing my hair before bed to keep it healthy. I had let my hair grow to cover my ears. That was because my ears were too big and I wanted to hide them. Dad had his hair long too, but his hair was down to the middle of the shoulder blades. He let his hair hang loose. He tied his hair in a turban when he was in the field. And Sarah said I wasn't dressed properly and that I needed something new that suited my age. She took me to the store. Yacek left it to Sarah, and he said he didn't like shopping with her. Sarah and I drove in her car to the next city to an enormous shopping center called Main Mall. I was used to shopping in thrift stores because I could spend less money and then have spare some money for my personal needs. This time I got no money, and Sarah was with me all of the time. She wanted me to try things in bright or pastel colors. I think you think I am kinda girly, I complained. Oh no, I know you are a tomboy, she replied. I was relieved. She knew I was a boy. Sometimes she misspelled my name, like Tom or Pam, but I didn't argue. For non-Polish people, Polish names were unusual. At home, I was called Przemek, while here it was shortened to Pem. I got used to it. But my new things were in bright colors or pastel. I decided not to complain too much because I was already complaining about the food. I didn't want to seem like a spoiled child. One day, Yacek had to go to the hospital. Sarah said it was nothing serious, but they liked to say, better worry than sorry. They made Sarah my guardian if something happened to Yacek. I had still some time until school started. I wanted to improve my English. TV didn't help. It was boring. There were no kids my age around. I spent a lot of time with Sarah, in the kitchen mainly. She showed me how to sew, like a torn-away button or some repair. We talked about her a lot, like when she was a little girl, about her mom and dad, how she met Yacek, about how they were hippies and decided to be a modern family without marriage, how she couldn't bear a child, how they struggled but couldn't adopt because they weren't married. I wasn't sure it helped my English, but it really helped to get closer to Sarah. We listened to music that Yacek and Sarah liked when they were young. Then we listened to songs Sarah liked and Yacek didn't. But Yacek was in the hospital and couldn't complain. At home, back in Poland, I was in a choir. I didn't read sheet music, but I could sing what I heard. One of my teachers said it was very wrong for me not to be able to read the music, while another said it was okay as long as I sang without mistakes. Anyway, I could sing what I heard. I sang for Sarah some of her personal favorites, like 48 Crash, or something more melodious like Soli Soli. Sure, they were girls' songs. But as I had mentioned already, puberty had spared me. My voice was kind of soprano after it had changed. As one music teacher said, it was a countertenor, while another said it was a male soprano. I didn't know which one of them was right, and I didn't care. "You sound so sweet," Sarah gushed, "even better than Sally." She was talking about Sally Carr, the performer of Soli Soli. My dad once said men were getting high-pitched voices lately. He said he didn't know that countertenor existed when he was my age. Nowadays, there was a bunch of young adult countertenors in a church choir. They sang the soprano part together with the girls. My dad is a baritone, by the way. With his long hair and beard, he is the most handsome man. And he is my dad. It had become time to go to school and get my schedule. The school wasn't far from my new home, so I went there alone. I wasn't a kid, after all. I was 15 years old. I didn't need someone to hold me by hand. After some mayhem and some misunderstanding, the person with the name tag AP Hopkins found my file. "What this is here for?" she asked, indicating a post-it sticker with Pem Boy on it. "My name is Pem, and I am a boy," I replied. "Have you seen a counselor yet?" she inquired. "No." "Then it's too early for it," she said, and removed the sticker. She opened my file and tried to read my name, but failed. "What's your name?" she asked. "Pem." She took another sticker and wrote Pam on it and attached it to my file. AP person looked me up and down. "See a counselor first," she ordered. "Where?" "The second door on the left, down the hall." Americans were using the word down a lot, even if it wasn't down. Anyway, I got to the door with the table. "Counselor, Ms. Croft." I knocked and was ushered in. "AP Hopkins said to see you first," I repeated AP's words. "What's your name?" "Pem Kalecki." She looked at her PC. "Kalecki," she said. It was the way Americans pronounced Polish names. The C was ignored. "It says Pam," she added then. "Let it be Pam then," I agreed. It sounded almost the same. "So what is the difference?" "So you are transitioning?" she asked. "Transitioning? Where?" I wasn't sure I understood what she was talking about. "Well, let's try differently. You think you were born in the body of the wrong gender." "No, I don't. I'm okay with the body I was born in." I hope I said it right. "Then I don't see the reason why you have to see me," Ms. Croft said. She made some notes on her PC and dismissed me. I came back to the office. AP Hopkins handed me my schedule, a book called Student's Handbook, and a piece of paper with my locker number and lock combination. I got my student ID, freshly laminated. It looked almost the same as my old ID in Poland. The picture was even the same. The name was different. I went home to read the student's handbook and explore the schedule of my classes. The handbook's part for boys could be described in one word: behave. Student attire should not disrupt the educational process. Sure, the book is about girls. Let them worry about their skirts, makeup, jewelry, tops, hairbands, tights, leggings, and so on. I was glad that I was a boy, and was spared from worries about my looks. The schedule had civics, so it had to be something different from Honda. My foreign language was French. At home, my foreign languages were English and German. I didn't know a word of French. Then there was home economics. Why domestic economy was so important to have a separate class? An alternative for home economics was shop. The classes were at the same time. One for boys and another for girls. I assumed the shopping was for girls, because Sarah liked shopping and Yacek didn't. I wasn't sure I disliked shopping because it was cool when you didn't have to worry about money. Yacek came home from the hospital after a few days. It wasn't something serious, he was just old. Sarah offered another shopping trip. It was called Back to School. It wasn't back to school in my case because I wasn't at this school before. Anyway, I needed things for school, and if Yacek and Sarah were ready to pay, I was more than eager to take this offer. The first thing this time was the gym uniform. It had to be in school colors. "Have student ID, dear?" the sales lady in the store asked. "Sure, here it is," I replied and handed her my new ID. "Scarborough High, sophomore. Running shorts and tee in white with red trim, white knee socks, ankle socks, white sports bra," she recited. "Wait, what bra?" The sales lady handed me my student ID back. And yes, it said I was female. I didn't check it at school, so it was my fault. Shit. What now? What now? Raise an issue and become a troublemaker even before school starts? If the sports bra is the only girly thing I have to wear, I could survive. Not a big deal. I ended with 4 changes of everything. It reminded Sarah of something. "You need new lingerie for school and formal events," she said. Even if I was a boy, she was right. Though I never used that strange word, lingerie, for my underwear. I ended up with a bunch of things that were coordinated. Those were Sarah's words. I didn't see the sense. It was underwear. Nobody sees it, so what is the difference in what color it is? And why do briefs have to be the same color as bras? And then it dawned on me that Sarah saw me as a girl. Maybe boyish, but a girl anyway. The same as Yacek. And I thought it was because of his American accent. Shit. Why couldn't I stay in Warsaw? Sarah persuaded me to buy a couple of skirts and a dress. I was like in a fog. That was probably why I agreed. I planned to put those girly things in the back of my closet and never wear them. But a couple of days later, it was Tuesday and the first day at school. "There is only one first impression," Sarah said. "How people will see you today, they will see you the same way the rest of the year. So dress prim and proper, be demure and polite. Be the best you can be." After some discussion and Yacek's last word, I ended in a short denim skirt and a white tee. And sure, I had a bra. By the way, all my bras were padded and I looked as if I had tits. I felt like an idiot. I was the only one in a skirt. Maybe not the only one in the whole school, but the only one in the group I was assigned to. Homeroom. Nobody laughed at me and nobody pointed at me, but more than a few of them looked me up and down. Mostly boys. Some of the girls, too. I was introduced as a new student, Pam Kalecki. I didn't even try to correct them that my surname was pronounced Kaletsky. It was useless. The next period was English, and it was in another room and another group. Some people were from my homeroom, but some were new. The third period was science. Again, another room and different people. This time we sat at tables in couples. I was paired with a boy. He looked me up and down. I was used to it already. "I like you," he said. "You don't know me," I said. "I like what I see," he insisted. "You are not like other girls. My partner last year was constantly talking about makeup and worrying about her nails. I had to do our assignments alone. You don't wear makeup." After a pause, he introduced himself. "Kevin, and you are Pam, short for Pamela." "Pam, Short for Przemysław, it's a boy's name because I'm a boy, I said. I tried to play it from another direction. Maybe this time their eyes will open and they will agree, oh yes, she's a boy, what a terrible mistake. They will laugh for a while, and then all this mayhem will die, and I'll be Przemek a boy again. Haha, I like your sense of humor, he replied, looking me up and down. I was the only person wearing a skirt in this room. Your something is unpronounceable. Better to just make it Pam. No prob. At home, I'm Pam too. I'm used to it. Your rents don't speak Polish with you? Kevin wondered. I live with my dad's grandfather. I said grandfather, though Jacek was Dad's granny's brother. I guess that made him some sort of uncle, but it was already too complicated, Jacek Beck. Oh, I know. The best homemade burgers in Maine, Kevin exclaimed. It was clear now why Sarah and Jacek were so unhappy after I rejected their burgers. They were known for the best hamburgers, and I didn't appreciate it. The classes went by lazily. It was the first day of classes. Still, neither teachers nor students were serious about their studies. The next period was lunch. Students were more enthusiastic in the cafeteria. I stood in line to get my meal. Then I found an empty table away from the main mass of kids and sat down for my meal. Unexpectedly, the food was good. Not like homemade good food, but better than what I got in some places in the mall while shopping with Sarah. I had opted for French fries, without milk. Almost all kids had milk with everything they ate. I wasn't ready to experiment. I liked fries with ketchup and without milk. May I? The voice disturbed the train of my thoughts. I raised my eyes and it was a boy, probably older than me, or maybe just seemed older. Sure, I don't own the place, I replied. I saw you in homeroom. You Pam? Yeah, for the foreseeable future, I'm Pam, I said. Morgan, he introduced. Then after a while, he added, You aren't like other girls. You are not the first to say that today, I retorted. It's because I'm a boy. Very funny, he snickered. Don't take me wrong. I like what I see. The silence that followed could have been termed loud. I didn't know how to respond, or did I need to continue the conversation? At home, nobody said they liked how I looked. Was it politeness or a flirt? He, just like Kevin, didn't believe I was a boy. What I was expected to do. Morgan looked like a nerd. Maybe he was just being polite to a new student. Little by little, step by step, I got to know other students I had classes with. I wasn't talkative, but some of them liked to be with me. Maybe because I listened better than I talked. I didn't say I was the boy after my experience with Kevin and Morgan. It was useless. It was the same with correcting the pronunciation of my surname. Useless. It was like they knew better than I did how to pronounce my name. In physical education, I learned that I was good at volleyball. I was accepted onto the team. It was great and strange at the same time because I wasn't good at any sport at home. In Warsaw, I mean. But it was a girls' team and I was kind of a girl and I changed with other girls. I turned away from them to not be seen and not to stare at them when they were undressed. They thought I was shy. I'm like you, one girl said. Sheila, I guess. I thought she saw I was a boy, and she's a boy too, so maybe not so bad. You are as flat as me, Sheila added. I'll show you later how to make your boobs look bigger. She wasn't a boy. When I got home, Sarah was happy and excited and wanted to know everything that happened at school. At first, I was reluctant to tell her, but I got involved in the conversation and was eager to tell her everything. The next morning, I wanted to dress in jeans, but Sarah said I had to keep the good image of a polite and demure girl. I ended up in a skirt again. During breakfast, Sarah showed me my part in the pill organizer she and Jacek were using for their medications. This concludes the first part of the story. If you're eager to find out what happens next, consider supporting us on Patreon or joining our YouTube membership for early access to the next parts. Thank you for listening.